We're back. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, that's a little loud. Hold on. Let me adjust my settings here. We're back.
Be loud.
Let's go.
We're back.
Welcome back.
Wow.
It's the Picks Podcast, and we're back for another week. It's the conference championships, and Kyle, we were there.
We were there.
We witnessed history. We witnessed history in the making. The Philadelphia Eagles headed back to the Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, February 9th. They'll be taking on, once again, the Kansas City Chiefs.
And we told you this matchup back in August. And by we, it was me.
By we, I mean
Ding
Kyle.
I just hope my winner's right.
So, Kyle, I did something really cool this year.
What'd you do?
Well, see, I went to the wild card round, right?
Yes, I was there with you for the wild card.
You were there. You were there with me for that one.
I was there for a wild card round.
So we went to the wild card round. I saw the Eagles win. Then I said, you know what? Let's run it back. Let's hunt. Let's go to the divisional round. In the snow, saw another Eagles win. And then, you know what? We had a conversation, and I said, let's run it back a third time. And we went ahead and went to the NFC Conference Championship Game in person. I completed the trifecta. No matter what happens now, I am part of history. The Eagles have become only the second team to host three playoff games and win them all. And it was just an incredible run. And it was something special to be a part of. We're getting a lot of Go Birds in the chat right now. I don't know what's going on.
Go Birds. Go Birds.
We got Mary. We got Emma going on right now. Crazy. Popping off. But yeah, we went there. We're going to talk about it for sure. Because it was an incredible experience. Once in a lifetime. Absolutely. We've got some general news to talk about. And actually, there was quite a lot of general news because there was a lot of coaching changes this week. I guess everybody was like, hey, we got to hire these coaches for the next year. So let's get on it. Starting on Wednesday, the Lions defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn, hired by the New York Jets as their next head coach. What do you think, Kyle? Good or bad move there? I mean, they were pretty high on him, right? That was kind of their guy, I feel like, throughout the entire interview process.
Yeah, I think that was a good hire. He's grown up. The main thing interesting was to see what happens with Rodgers. I think there's not really a better option to go to. And, it doesn't make any sense to cut him with the cap reasons. So I wouldn't be surprised if Rodgers is there.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
mean, that's the more interesting story than Aaron Glenn. I think he's grown up. I think he's going to be a good coach. What he was able to do with that Lions defense, despite all the injuries,
crazy,
very impressive.
Crazy to me.
I think the big thing with Aaron Glenn is I'm interested to see how the Jets do what they decide to do on offense, mainly with the quarterback position, and I'm also really interested to see what happens with Detroit losing both of their top two.
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, the Eagles had to go through this a couple of years ago when they made the Super Bowl.
Oh, it was last year.
What?
Well, the season with two. Okay, yeah, I don't know.
2 seasons ago. 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had to go through the same thing. They lost Shane Steichen. Or no, yeah, was it? Yeah, it was Shane Steichen and
Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah. So they had to go through that process. Clearly, I mean, it worked out for a little bit until they lost all the games in a row. John, that's not a valid score right there. My brother commented. He goes 41-18 Chiefs. It's invalid. No one's rooting for the Chiefs this time around. Sorry.
Boo, Chiefs, boo.
Yeah, so the Eagles had to go through a similar situation, 2 years ago. So I feel like Detroit's kind of in a similar situation. They have, it's kind of like fire in the pan almost, right? Jahmyr Gibbs, Aiden Hutchinson. They got a lot of young guys, a lot of, their core is very, very young. And, it'll be interesting to see. And I mean, I think Dan Campbell's probably in a better situation than Sirianni was. Given the whole fact that the Eagles had basically gone through 3 defensive coordinators last year. They had Sean Desai. They brought in Matt Patricia, and then don't even remember who finished the season, to be honest. I forget. I'm not thinking about last year. I'm thinking about this year.
Yeah, the past is in the past. Let the past die.
But I think the Jets are in a very good position. I think they're, you know, I think Glenn was their guy from day one. I shouldn't say they're in a good position, right? Because we know that they're going to need a quarterback if Rodgers moves on. They have a lot of question marks, defensive line, offensive line, secondary. They have a lot of question marks there. I think a guy like Glenn though probably gives them a little bit of a lifeline. Defensive minded coach, which is definitely the direction I think they should go in. Right, shore up the defense, and then we'll just work on the O line. And also, try to keep Garrett Wilson as happy as possible, of course. You don't want him going anywhere. So I think overall, I think the Jets are probably in a good position with the Aaron Glenn hire. But we'll see.
Yeah, but they have Woody Johnson as their owner, and they're the Jets. So I mean, until they do something, I have no faith in the Jets.
They are the New York Jets. The Jets are indeed the Jets. So that is a big thing, unfortunately.
Currently, the longest playoff drought by a wide margin.
Yeah. A couple other hires. Notre Dame's defensive coordinator Al Golden was hired by the Cincinnati Bengals as their defensive coordinator. The Bears have made Antoine Randall, former Steelers wide receiver, their assistant head coach / wide receivers coach on Friday. Good move. I like him. He's a really funny dude. If you don't know anything about Antoine Randall, funny guy. The Jaguars hire Bucs OC Liam Cohen as their new head coach.
Yeah, he was the one that forced Balake away.
Dude, this was such a mess, dude. Honestly, this whole Balake. How do you say his name?
It's like Balake.
But it's spelled Baalke. Balake.
I call him Balake.
Aaron Balake.
His name pronounced right.
Yeah. So he was fired by the owner after the owner realized, right, none of the top coaching candidates were going to go to Jacksonville with him still there. It was a complete mess.
He's a terrible GM.
And by the time they did that, it was like way too late for them to hire anybody that they realistically wanted. So they kind of just had to settle for Liam Cohen, I feel like.
Well, no, they wanted Liam Cohen.
They wanted him, and then he said, "I'm going to stay in Tampa."
No, I'm staying in Tampa because I hate your GM.
And then they were like, "What if?" They were like, "What if we fire him?" They were like, "What if we get rid of him?"
The one thing I'll say with him, he kind of like did like he kind of scumbagged the Bucks, and like just little scumbag move in general. Because like he said to the Bucks, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sign back with you guys."
Yeah, right.
And he kind of like goes to them under the guise like he's like visiting his sick son, who's like legitimately sick, like he's in the hospital.
Right.
And then in actuality, he went to Jacksonville and signed a deal as head coach.
Yeah, I think that's kind of crazy. So
that's
I think the Bucks,
scummy move.
Bucks kind of got screwed there, in my opinion.
I concur.
Yeah. We'll move on to Friday, where the Las Vegas Raiders made some news. They land Pete Carroll, former Super Bowl winning head coach for the Seattle Seahawks, as their new head coach. It's a 3-year deal with a 4th-year option.
Wow, the AARP division, the AFC West.
I love that hire, dude. I absolutely love that hire for the Raiders.
How old is he? He like 70.
He doesn't look a day over 60, and he's like 70, like 74 if I had to guess. Let me see.
Pete Carroll's 73 years old. He will be 74.
73, yeah, 73.
Probably by between week 1 and week 2 of the season. His birthday's on September 15th.
Crazy. Great football mind, obviously. I think that's exactly the type of play, like a guy that just the players can get behind, established Super Bowl pedigree. Like, I think this is the perfect hire for the Raiders moving forward. This is the guy you want.
We get the Carroll Harbaugh Bowl 2 days.
Oh my God! I'm gonna
bring it back, baby.
Bring it back.
These dudes hate each other. I'm so excited.
I love
That's the best part of the hire, to be honest.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this is probably the best hire out of any team this offseason.
The big thing, though, they need to what are they going to do at quarterback?
I mean, look, they're in a rebuild. No one's going to deny that. They got a lot. Like I said, the Jets have a lot of question marks. Raiders probably have more question marks than the Jets, and that's saying a lot. But They're in a.
Do they though? It's
They have a
really just
lot, dude.
quarterback.
Their O-line stinks. They have no secondary. Like, they have Max Crosby on the D-line, and that's kind of it. They have Robert Spillane as like their only good secondary player. They have a lot of question marks, dude. They're sure. All right, here's where the Raiders don't have question marks. Special teams. They have Daniel Carlson and AJ Cole. Teams. They're good there.
And Max Crosby, he's good too.
I said special teams, but yes.
And Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers, of course.
Arguably, he is the best tight end.
Arguably. You could. I mean, he had the best year. Definitely.
He did have the best year, and he's the youngest, and he's a stud.
Crazy.
So
I think that's probably the best hire I've seen this offseason so far. I guess offseason for other teams. Saturday there was some news too. Per Adam Schefter, Bobby Slowick is out as Texans offensive coordinator.
Wow.
Huh? Oh, that
From
one.
Hot head coaching candidate a year ago to on the streets.
And to looking for work. That's kind of crazy, right? I don't know. They must have been.
The Texans offense was kind of weak this year. CJ Stroud regressed. I think it was more interior offensive line play that kind of did them in.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anything else, but they did kind of have like a kind of very vanilla scheme, and they did get a lot of injuries. But I mean,
I think there was some.
It's not for long. That's what NFL stands for.
In addition, to everything you just said, I just feel like they kind of had some internal disagreements. Slowick probably wanted to take them in a different direction. So I get it. I don't think D'Amico Ryans is going anywhere. So up to him who to replace Slowick with. But interesting news nonetheless. We got another big one, which I believe was also made official on Saturday. The Cowboys officially hire Brian Schottenheimer as their new head coach.
Wow.
Per Jerry Jones, of course. Schottenheimer was the Cowboys OC, known as a career assistant since the 90s. Son of the late Marty Schottenheimer, coach of the year in 2004 with the Chargers. Bro, what is this hire?
The hire is that Jerry Jones treats the Dallas Cowboys as a business.
What is this, man?
And he thinks he can just get away with. He probably is not paying a lot.
Dude.
The rumor mills, from what I heard through my sources, are that they thought they could lowball McCarthy, and McCarthy was like, no, and they were kind of shocked by that. And then the other rumor mill, more so conspiracy theory, is that Jerry Jones wants to find his quote unquote Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni, just like a head coach that's kind of like not really well known, but he's like, oh, like everyone pans the hire at the beginning, but like, oh, he turns out super great. That's more conspiracy theory. I don't think it's gonna turn out great because Dallas's offense was terrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a lot.
It's not very good. Granted, with the injuries, but
yeah,
fact. I mean, I was gonna say this for the game, but the Eagles had more rushing touchdowns in the NFC Championship game with 7. Then Dallas had the entire season.
I wanted you to wait on that, but I'm going to go on record and say that is the best stat. That's the best stat.
That is the best stat. That's best stat of the year.
That's the best stat.
Round of applause. Stat of the year.
That's the best stat. I'm going to take a lot of my analysis on the Schottenheimer hire from my brother, who's a Cowboys fan. So they interviewed 2 coaches with a below 500 career record who were fired also. And then 2 candidates who had no previous experience at any position, which was Deion Sanders and Brian Schottenheimer. Schottenheimer, of course, who got the job. Schottenheimer's probably the least qualified of the bunch. He's only led a top 10.
I'd argue Deion, to be honest, but
I mean, the guy's at least been in a head coaching position, and he knows, he knows the sport. Schottenheimer had led a top 10 defense only twice in his 14 years of being an offensive coordinator.
how could he lead a top 10 defense when he's an offensive coordinator?
No, I said top 10 offense. Did I say defense?
No, you said defense.
No, I meant
a little slip up. Obviously, he could not lead a top 10 defense.
So
he's not in charge of the defense.
He led a top 10 offense twice in his career, out of 14 years being an offensive coordinator. One was in 2023 when McCarthy was calling the plays. So really only once. The Cowboys did not interview Ben Johnson, who was clearly the hottest name out there, because they were still deciding whether or not they wanted to keep McCarthy or not.
They didn't want to pay Ben Johnson.
Yeah, they didn't want to pay anybody. So
Jerry Jones,
I think it was completely mismanaged by the
him.
Cowboys. I agree with my brother there. totally mismanaged by Dallas. But this is just stereotypical Jerry Jones, right? They want a guy who's going to say yes, yes, daddy, essentially.
Yes, Daddy Jones.
So,
Jerry
yeah,
Jones, live long and prosper, man.
I
Stay alive,
keep doing
stay healthy,
keep doing what you're
keep
doing.
kicking,
Philly loves you,
keep doing
man.
what you're doing. We love you, Jerry.
Oh man.
Hey, we're ready
And
for
then
Sunday now, or is
now
there
I got two more things. One was another one with the Jets, who have hired Broncos assistant GM Darren Muji to be their new GM. The team announced on Saturday. Muji's only 39 years old. He's been with Denver since the 2013 season, being promoted to assistant GM in 2022. They've appeared to just hit on Bo Nix, right? So maybe they're looking for a guy that knows the quarterback position pretty well. God damn, do they need one? Do they need a guy that knows quarterbacks? So, you know, I don't know how much he had with bringing Peyton in when they won the Super Bowl that one year. You know, I don't know how much he had to do with bringing in Russ, which clearly didn't work out. But, you know, he's the guy that, you know, was under the GM who drafted Bo Nix. Maybe there was some insight there. So, good hire. Who knows? GMs are kind of tough to predict. You know, I'm not really a front office.
Yeah, the Broncos have kind of had
analysis kind of guy.
Draft and stuff recently.
I feel like they've had a pretty good success during the draft. So, assistant GM, the GM, like I said, I don't know really how that translates. It's probably kind of a crapshoot. You know, it's probably whether you like the guy and what the guy has to say. I would guess more so in the interview process.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
So we'll see what happens. Now, there were some controversial calls on Sunday, which we are going to get into. But, Kyle, do I have news for you? Per Adam Schefter on Saturday night, the NFL is expected to expand replay assists to include plays involving quarterback slides for the 2025 NFL season. Big news. Thank
I kind of like the
God.
replay assist.
Dude,
it's been kind of nice, and they need to expand it. So.
It's such a no-brainer, common sense. Yes, why wasn't it there to begin with when we had implemented replay assist? It doesn't make any sense. It feels like they arbitrarily wrote every single call on a piece of paper, stuffed it into a hat, pulled out a handful or two, and then we're like, all right, these are the ones that are reviewable. Everything else in the hat you can't review. That's literally what it feels like sometimes. It's just. Schefter also added that discussions on the issue are expected to be held this offseason before voting on any rule changes take place at the NFL's annual meeting in late March. Please vote yes. Please. So yeah, that's the general news. A lot of head coaching news. A little bit of rule change news. But the big ticket item this week, Kyle, was the AFC and NFC Championship Games.
Woo!
So, as we said, Kyle and I witnessed. We were there in person. To watch the Eagles 55. 55? What? 55.
Wow.
55-23 victory over the Washington Commanders. Kyle, I guess take us through the day. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about the
day. We gotta
immaculate day.
Unload it. And just
it was me, Aaron. We were me, Matt, Aaron, our resident Commanders fan. Unfortunately, we have no Commanders facts for this game. So sad. But Aaron was a trooper. He got a Stephon Diggs picture at the end of the game. The Commanders had a hell of a season. I'm giving them their props first.
I gotta say,
Jaden Daniels is gonna be an issue for a long time in this.
I gotta say, I might poke fun at Aaron during today's show, but he was nothing short of a class act. Handled it extremely well. Obviously, the Philly natives went after him a little bit before, during, and after the game. Wasn't as bad after, thankfully, because I could tell Aaron was upset. Yeah. Obviously, if I were in his shoes,
I would also be very upset.
I'd be steaming as well.
Definitely handle it like a champ.
Yeah, dude, handle it like a champ.
His team wasn't the champ.
Oh man, dude.
Yeah,
so we show up? We showed up at like 10:30, something like that.
Yeah, we got there around like 10:30. We in line, got our parking around 11.
Little tailgate action.
A little tailgate, having a little fun time with all our Eagles fans, Philly friends.
We were
having
up
a great
there,
time.
bro. We were way up there.
We got way up there to the seats.
That was crazy.
National anthem performed by, I forgot the name of the Jenny's gonna. My sister does Broadway,
from Wicked.
So She's gonna kill me.
She's
But
from
the person who
Wicked.
plays Elphaba and Wicked right now, she did phenomenal
That
anthem.
was crazy.
The eagle flew. Excellent flight pattern by the eagle. Immaculate vibes. Kickoff begins. And this, I think the first two drives kind of sum up the difference between these two
Yeah,
teams.
absolutely.
Commanders get on the field and they have a drive that takes up almost the entirety of the first quarter.
It was like
18 plays, 54 yards,
yeah,
just grinding it out.
it was like what,
Barely any gains.
7 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, it was 7 minutes and 3 seconds. 18 play, 54-yard drive.
Crazy.
It was basically first, second, third, first, second, third, first, second, third, fourth. They go for it.
They converted two fourth downs
Second, third,
on those drives.
Yeah, 4th and 5, a 4th and 2.
Yeah.
Then they get a 4th and 3 on the Philly 16, and they decide to kick the field goal.
So in retrospect, right? Because I wasn't
went for it.
I wasn't really thinking about it at the time, right? Because I was like, I know they like to go for it on 4th down. If they're in no man's land, they're definitely going to go for it on 4th down. In retrospect, I'm like, all right, they're not confident, or at the time I was thinking they're not confident enough in Zane Gonzalez to take the points until they get in, to a certain range. So at the time I was like, oh, all right, so they're in Gonzalez field goal range. So I was like keeping that in the back of my mind, right? I'm like, all right, if it's like a 45 yard attempt, they're going to kick the field goal. In retrospect, right? Kind of wild that they didn't go for that. Kind of wild.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't like the thought process was they didn't want to go on this long-winded drive where they convert twice and come up empty, which, makes sense. But, obviously they didn't know the Eagles were going to put 55 points. Else they would have went for that. But yeah, it is kind of weird, right? Like you see it's the playoffs, right? It's like 4th and 2. You just converted a 4th and 5 and you were backed up even further. So kind of interesting.
Yeah, he did a 4th and it was a 4th and 3, but it was they converted 4th and 5, 4th and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think you kind of like, are you pushing your luck going for it a third time?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of mentality early in the game. You don't want to lose your momentum there.
Yeah.
So I at the time I get the points, but obviously Monday morning quarterback retrospect, they probably should have went for it in the long run.
I agree.
Then we're gonna go over this next Eagles drive as fast as it was. 60-yard touchdown, Saquon Barkley. Stadium blew up.
Dude.
Incredible.
Was that? I mean, obviously that wasn't the loudest point in the game, but that was,
pretty close.
That sucked I was lightheaded screaming after that. Like that was just. I was like, he did it again. He did it again. He did it again. And I had a really good feeling, like just going for I know it was close throughout the second and early fourth or early third quarter. That it was still a close game. But that just set the precedence for I think what followed eventually, down the line.
Yeah.
As
I was saying,
unbelievable play.
Yeah. I think the fact that the Eagles could just get a 60-yard touchdown immediately,
the
Commanders had to grind the first quarter and half just to get a field goal.
Spoke volumes.
Just kind of as great as Daniels has played this year, which arguably top 10 quarterback. You could argue even higher.
I don't think it's arguable.
He was very good.
Is.
I don't think it's arguable. He is top 10. You could argue even higher than that. But I think that the team around him, the one thing I will say, eventually, obviously, they lost the turnover battle. They had 4 fumbles and an interception. Very bad. But the fumbles, that sucks because they were all nobody's wearing Naomi Brown jersey. Austin Eckler's good, but he's kind of washed at this point. You're not wearing these guys' jerseys. It just kind of sucks that they're the ones that kind of fumble it away. But
yeah, I mean, I don't think you can blame Daniels on that per se.
No, I'm not blaming Daniels. I'm just saying in general, it's just shows the talent disparity in the team.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, I'm completely missed the point.
That the Eagles were a much more talented team.
Yeah, point. Here's the thing though. We knew that going in. We knew that on paper. We saw it when they dominated earlier in the year, which was week 11, and then honestly, even though they lost in week 16, right? The Eagles did.
But
it was 21-7, right?
And they lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, come on, and they still almost won. So it's we knew that the Eagles were the more talented team going in. I don't think anybody was going to sit here and tell you that Washington was the more talented team. They were the hotter team though, for sure. I mean, hell, they had just gone into Detroit and beat Detroit, and Detroit looked invincible at home this year. So I guess that's why, that's where the nerves came specifically, right? Because it's like you get a wild
I'll
card.
say I'll say one cool Commander stat that I'm sure Aaron would have sent me had the Commanders won the game, or maybe even made this game close.
Mhm.
This playoffs, home teams won every game except for the Commanders were the only team to win
Yeah,
games on the road this
and they won
playoffs,
2 of them.
which they won two of them against the
So
1 seed and the 3 seed. So a great season, Commanders. You have a lot of cap
it
space.
was great.
Obviously, looked in the future. They're the only team in the division that I am worried about or
Remotely,
concerned
yeah,
with
yeah.
for the next few years.
All right, so Saquon,
Um,
60-yard touchdown.
Saquon touchdown. Then we got a Naimi Brown fumbles. Zach Bond. In my opinion, I think he's defensive player of the year.
Bond.
He's not
There's
gonna
an
get it because
argument.
of name recognition.
There's an
but I
argument.
think he's a finalist. I think he should be defensive player.
Well,
of the year.
so Zach Bond.
He has argued his stats are equal to Luke Kuechly's when he won defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's really anybody else this year that had quite a drastic impact like he has.
I'll tell you
He's
what.
made plays to win games.
The story behind Zach Bond is just insane to me. He's a veteran guy. He was in New Orleans. He was bouncing around. He was in New Orleans last year, though. He can get a single offer from any other team, gets a 1-year deal, vet minimum as an Eagle to be a special teamer and essentially dev, right? And he essentially just emerged. He took over the starting job in training
New
camp.
Orleans, he was not really even an inside backer. He was more like an outside linebacker, like pass rush and special team.
Dude, I can't confirm this. I have no way of confirming this. I guarantee you when they brought in Fangio, he looked at Zach Bond's tape and was like, "That's my guy."
I no way to confirm that, but I guarantee.
I guarantee it. He looked at his tape and was like, "I'm going to make you a superstar this year."
Yeah.
Crazy story.
Absolutely insane. But I honestly think, in my opinion, he should be defensive player of the year. That play, DeJean's got Naimi in a tackle. Zach Bond just runs up, peanut punch.
What are you calling him? What's his first name? Brown?
Zach Bond?
No, his first.
Diami?
Diami.
Whatever.
Diami.
He fumbled. Bum. Anyway, he actually had a good year, but Reed Blankenship recovers. Eagles get the ball at the Washington 48.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles drive down. Devontae Smith with kind of a moment that's so early in the game I didn't really remember at the time. Incredible 20-yard catch down the sideline.
Oh, that was the sideline catch.
One blade of grass.
Yeah,
like
dude.
I heard people saying but if you look at the one angle, you can see one blade of green between his shoe and the sideline. Incredible catch by Devontae Smith.
Man's crazy.
Man's a number one receiver in half of these
teams. On a number of teams.
Just on a number of teams. And Jalen obviously balling out through the pass, but I'll talk more about that as we get to the end recap.
I've got a lot to say about that. Trust me.
So then we got after that you get another Barkley touchdown. So Barkley's at 2 touchdowns. Incredible. 14-3. Washington gets the ball back.
And you know what? At this point, Kyle, it felt a lot like that Week 16 matchup. Like how it just started.
Yeah.
It felt a lot like, because you had the early in the first quarter, you had the long Barkley touchdown, touchdown run, and then they forced a turnover and then got another touchdown. Felt like it was playing out a lot
very
like that
similar
game.
to Week 16.
Mm-hmm.
So then Washington gets the ball back again. Like I said before, very long drive, 4 minutes, 10 plays, only 45 yards to get another field goal.
Yeah,
they're at 14-6. This, I believe, at this point, we're at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, at the beginning of the second quarter, Eagles get the ball. They go on a long drive that 12 plays, almost 6 minutes, only 35 yards though. The one problem with this drive, Hurts took a really bad sack at the end of it.
Yeah,
which kind of pushed Elliott into a 54-yard field goal. Which again, that's no gimme. But Elliott has struggled this year.
Man,
so that was disappointing to see.
I'm upset with Jake Elliott. That's his first, by the way.
At this point,
first career playoff missed field goal in Jake Elliott. He was 21 for 21.
Yeah.
Prior to that, so I was like, hey, it's a field goal. He's gonna make it. Now I didn't see the broadcast replay. It was right to my understanding though, right?
I believe so.
Was it? Did it have the?
I remember at the time.
Do you remember if it had the length?
It was wide right.
Did it have the distance?
It was a 54-yard. No, I don't remember. I didn't watch that.
So watching it live,
I kind of skimmed through the game.
Watching it live,
I thought it had. It looked like it had the distance.
Yeah.
But anyway, they missed the field goal.
Mhm.
Washington gets the ball on Washington's 44, and they drive down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin had a nice 36-yard touchdown,
Yeah.
broke a couple tackles.
Slant. I believe
And
that
you
was a
got
third down,
12-14.
too. I believe that was
It was a third. It was 3rd and 3 on Philly's 36.
Yeah, so
And he
big,
drove
big,
downfield, broke
big
up
play in
tackles.
the game.
Big play. 14-12. They go for 2.
Yeah.
Attempt fails.
Mm.
But at this point, I'm still nervous.
Oh yeah.
Jaden Daniels.
I wasn't
Aaron's
nervous.
still very actively in the game.
You know,
I'm a little. I'm a nervous man.
I wasn't nervous.
I was quite nervous.
I wasn't nervous. I was just, hey, this is gonna be a football game. You know, that was my mentality. I'm like, we're in a good position. We're doing good things. We're scoring points. We're getting our offense, in position to score points. Our defense is bending but not breaking too bad at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We just stopped them from scoring 2 points, so we have the lead still. So I didn't think it would be an easy game, going into it. I gave the Commanders their credit. Obviously the Eagles did too. They played them extremely well for 3 quarters. But yeah, at this point I'm not too nervous, but I was, sitting there, biding my time, cheering my ass off.
Yeah, so at this point the Eagles get the ball back with 7 minutes to go in the second half. This is kind of your classic Eagles. You got to drive down the field, kill a lot of clock, get a touchdown. And they're driving pretty good. And at this point, I think arguably this is the most important part of the game.
Yeah.
There's a 3rd and 5 where Jalen gets a lot. He holds on the ball a little too long, but he does make a play. He throws it where Barkley could catch it. Granted, it'd be a tough catch. He doesn't catch it, which would have put him at 4th and 1. Which I think at this point with where the game's going, I think you got to go for that.
Yeah,
so now it's 4th and 5.
I firmly believe they would have went for that.
This is when we're at the game, 4th and 5. I turn to Matt and I'm like, "Are they going to go for us?" Because the offense was still on the field.
You remember what I told you?
And we're like, "Nah, we're going to drive them off. We're going to draw them off sides." That's what Matt said to me.
And then
I was like, "Matt, they're going for it." I think right as he said that, they snapped the ball.
I go.
Oh my!
I looked at Kyle and I was like, you're like, what are we doing? I'm like, we're punting. We're gonna draw them off. We're gonna try and draw them off. We're punting. And then the lady to my left was like, oh, we're going for it. We're going for it. I'm like, I'd be shocked if we snapped this ball. And literally before the words even left before I even finished my sentence, they hiked it.
Snap.
My heart
the
sunk.
Play, Jaden
heart in my throat.
Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown's elite play reminded me very reminiscent of the play they did against the Browns at the game I attended earlier in the year. Same corner of the field. Long AJ Brown pass for 31 yards, converts the first down.
Unbelievable.
At this point,
You're giving me goosebumps, bud.
This is the game.
Dude.
That was such a big play.
The funny thing was, and I noticed this earlier in the game too, they were leaving Brown and Smith a lot of the time in one-on-one coverage. A lot of the time.
Yes, because they were really determined to stop Saquon.
Yeah, they were. And it didn't work.
They were stacking the box a lot.
Yeah, so I didn't even notice the matchup at the top one-on-one, but I saw
it was against Lattimore.
It was against Lattimore, yeah. I saw Brown get the step on Lattimore, and I was like, oh my God, he's got him. And then I was like, oh my God, he's throwing it. Oh my God, he caught it. That was probably one of the most nervous points in the game for me, was that play.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But that play, I was like, wow, this is it, man.
Yeah.
But, however, the next day, I'm reviewing the footage. I was trying to review key moments that I remember from the broadcast angle. And unfortunately, I have to say this, Saquon Barkley got away with a hold there, which just puts a little sour taste in my mouth after the fact. Because I thought I was about ready to come on here, say that's the play of the game, define the game, and I hate to see that a penalty that should have been called was a contributing factor in there.
Hey, you know what, Kyle?
It's just a shame
you know
to
what?
see.
Call it even for last time.
Yeah, but I would say though, again, if they don't get that 4th down there, it's 14-12. Washington's gaining some momentum,
dude.
And honestly, at that point, it's a little before the 2-minute warning. The 2-minute warning happened right after that play.
Mm-hmm. And Washington at that point had all their timeouts.
Washington would have gotten the ball back, and if you recall, granted, we'll get into it, but Washington's final play of the half, they drove down the field relatively quickly. They only had 30.
They had 39.
They had what was it? 39 seconds.
They had 39 seconds and no timeouts, and they got into field goal range.
No timeouts, and they got field goal. They would have had some timeouts. They would have had 2 minutes.
Yeah.
They could have scored there, but
that ultimately was probably the turning point of the game. That right there.
Yep. Anyway, so yeah, and then also later on, you got 3rd and 13, Washington 17, deep pass to Devontae Smith, clear pass interference on Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah.
Ball gets pushed
No
up to the
questions
1.
there.
What happens at the 1-yard line?
Push.
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 They go for 2 though,
Push.
because there was a unnecessary roughness, but they fail at the 2-point. They did stop them at the 2-point.
Yeah.
So I will say, Washington, when we get to the point later in the game, which insanity ensues, you did stop a tush push. So, like, no complaining, okay? It can't be stopped.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just saying that now. Anyway, then the kickoff back to Washington, and the arcade mode Madden play, which if you've ever played arcade mode Madden, as I did throughout most of my senior year of college, with a little bit of adult beverages, so to speak. But they fumble on the opening kickoff, a play that always happens in arcade mode in Madden, and everyone's like, that never happens in real life. And it did. Incredible. Will Shipley, who again had a career day as a rookie.
Yeah, dude.
He's the one that forces the fumble.
I thought Gainwell did.
And it's no, Shipley forced it. Gainwell recovered.
Oh, Gainwell recovered it. Okay, that's what it was.
Shipley was the one that basically banged his shoulder into the ball.
Dude, running backs. The running backs today, unbelievable.
Incredible. Eagles get the ball. They end up having a hold with Landon Dickerson, and Jalen Hurts. I thought he was scored, but it was a hold. He clearly had like his hand in the pad. But then we have an unnecessary roughness on Barkley out of bounds,
which it was.
I rewatched it today. It was unnecessary roughness. Saquon was clearly had a foot out of bounds.
Yeah, he was clearly out of bounds.
Lowered his shoulder. Not allowed to be doing that.
No.
Then they end up getting an AJ Brown touchdown, which I did bet. My only
go.
bet of the day.
There we go.
Big bong. Big hit. And then they have the ball. Now it's 27-12. Washington gets the ball back, as I said. At this point, Washington drives down the field very effectively. Their best drive of the day, arguably, with no timeouts. Big plays to
that was huge too, because that made it not a 3-possession game.
And a nice scramble. And that basically brought it to 15-27, made a 2-possession game going into half, even though the Eagles would have the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I'm feeling good as an Eagles fan. I'm sure you were, Matt, too. I was a little nervous.
I was feeling great.
Aaron felt there was still a chance. We open up the second half with punt on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
The punt for the Eagles just kind of slow getting into it, which is sad. Bad sack by Hurts on second down.
Yeah.
Then they kind of just do like a little screen to Goddard to try to just get some yardage. Washington gets the ball. Big sack by Jordan Davis on that was of the second half.
I don't know if I actually watched the replay on that one. That was a beautiful move by Davis. Just
basically bullied the guard.
You would never think a guy that's that big is so nimble on his feet, but it's crazy what these guys are capable of doing.
He had to chase that. Like, Jay Daniels could have gotten out of there, and then
dude, he ran him down,
fast.
Bro.
He's fast.
All 315 of Jordan Davis, or however much he weighs.
Yeah, fun fact: Jordan Davis has a faster 40 time than Patrick Mahomes.
That's kind of wild.
Absolutely nuts.
That's kind of wild. Nuts.
The Eagles get the ball back after arguably. Like, what was their punt?
I don't know if they went 3 and out.
Yeah, it was.
I can't remember.
45-yard punt.
Yeah.
Well, no, Eagles got the ball back. This is when they drive down the field. Big play to Dallas Goedert, and then Jalen Hurts gets a big play to Washington. Dallas Goedert. Jalen Hurts runs it for a touchdown. 34-15.
That was the vanilla touchdown run, right? That was not a
regular, not a touch push.
That was a QB
Washington
draw.
Gets the ball
Excellent
back.
play call.
They have a very nice drive of their own. Jalen Carter got injured in this drive.
Yes.
Very scary.
Yeah, he did.
I was very scared. The stadium, you could hear a pin drop initially. Very sad.
He was down for a while.
Back in the game.
Yeah, he came back in the game.
He walked off on his own power.
After I saw him walking, I was like, whew.
It's like, thank God.
Thank God.
Because at this point, like, I was just thinking the next game, to be honest, at that point. But anyway, Washington
I was trying not to, but I was kind of thinking that same way too.
Washington scores a touchdown. So it's an 11-point game because they go for the touchdown and they get the 2-point
Daniels
conversion.
Runs it in.
To Azamade Zaccheaus. They ran it in for a touchdown. So it's an 11-point game. Eagles get the ball back. They end up punting. Very unfortunate. And so then Washington gets the ball back, and at this point, I'm like, if Washington scores, this is still a game.
Yeah, definitely.
But at this play, Dana Daniels does a little short pass to Eckler, which arguably I think he should have probably just stayed down because he kind of like lost his footing. But as he gets up,
Yeah,
Owen Burks
dude.
comes in, punches the ball out, recovered by Zach Bond at basically the 50-yard line.
Basically, the third straight game, he's made a major impact on the game. Obviously, he wasn't the clear-cut starter in the wild card round against Green Bay, because that's when the injury to Nakobe Dean happened. But the divisional round, he was in there in a lot of big tackles, made a lot of big plays. He had a sack, I believe, in that game, if I remember correctly. And then the forced fumble here clearly just killed, a lot of the momentum that Washington was trying to build on, right? Because like you said, if they score there,
they score there. It's a 4-point game.
It's a 4-point game.
If
potentially
they
3.
Yeah,
potentially a 3-point game there if they drive down and get a touchdown. Now, granted, it was early in the drive. Granted, it was earlier in the drive, right? They weren't in Eagles territory yet, so they weren't really driving yet. But we know how explosive that Washington offense is. They can score in one play like that. So,
yep,
massive. So
then the Eagles get the ball. Quick drive. This big play to AJ Brown, then Barkley for 22. They basically end up getting at the 1-yard line, tush push territory, and here we go. Frankie Louvu.
Oh my God!
Big Superman trying to fly over the line. So Matt, taking me to the
stadium, this was crazy.
Man.
Yeah, so we were at
this was arguably the most nutty point of the whole.
We had a great view of this too. We really did. So we're at the 1-yard line, tush push formation, and before they even snap it, Louvu comes flying over the line. Now, they didn't mention this, and to my knowledge, they didn't mention this anywhere. Leading with the helmet, by the way.
Yeah.
So, kind of dangerous, right? Offsides, they move it a couple inches forward. Next play, tush push formation, does the same exact thing. Offsides, moves move it forward. And then they did it. What was it? Oh no, then it was the lineman. I forget who it was.
Yeah, Jonathan Allen.
Yeah, tried to dive forward, moving another inch forward. At this point, I heard something that I never heard anyone say. The official makes the call, offsides, defense, half the distance to the goal. And then he says, Washington has been warned that the officials can award a touchdown if this behavior continues. And I'm like, what? They can just give you a touchdown? And so I looked it up at the stadium, and this is what is called a palpably unfair act. I know, crazy. The rule is, the general rule is that a palpably unfair act interfered illegally with the course of play, be it from a player or non-player action, and the compensation can be, in the judgment of the officials, equitable to what the result of the play would have been without the prior act happening. This includes field goals and touchdowns.
Wow.
So they give an example here, in the event of an ongoing threat, such as a riot in the stands, the officials can also suspend the game until the situation is resolved. They don't give any examples on, player actions per se, but the official knew the rule, and he interpreted it as a palpably unfair act by Washington trying to deliberately time the snap and delay the game. Basically, what would have been inevitably, right? They would have just continued to keep doing that. So, yeah. I mean, I get it, right? From the standpoint of the official, you can't just keep doing that, right? So, the result
at that point, like arguably, like you're giving them like what, an inch at a time. Like,
you're giving, yeah, and
like, it's not even worth it.
Yeah, and so the result of the play in the officials' eyes would have been a touchdown, and so they would have been able to award the. I have no idea how that would have gone down in the playbook. I have no idea who would have gotten the points there. I have no idea how the ruling would have been. That did not happen because the Commanders on the ensuing play stayed put, and Jalen Hurts was shoved into the end zone for an Eagles touchdown.
Yeah, and I believe at this point, I texted Sam. I texted my girlfriend saying, I think I can finally say it in terms of that the.
So at this point, what was the score and what was the time? So I'll tell you.
At this point, basically, there was 12 minutes left in the fourth. Eagles are up 41-23.
So it was 41-23. So it was an 18-point game. So yeah, I felt great.
It's a 3-score game.
I felt great, and I didn't feel comfortable telling anybody anything. I wanted to score more.
Matt did yell at me when I said that to my girlfriend.
I didn't.
I
I was
said I
like,
said that,
Kyle, it's a three.
and
It's
you're
a
like,
three-score
no.
game. I've seen this. I've seen this before. I've seen this happen before. We can't call it over yet.
But yeah, then Washington gets the ball, 8 plays for 1 yard. They end up getting a turnover on downs. At that point,
Yes.
you have to go for it.
Yeah.
Big snack by Nolan Smith. Fun fact of the day:
I know what
Nolan
you're gonna
Smith
say.
has the second most playoff sacks in Eagles history,
No, it's the most.
which is no, he has the second. I thought
I thought it was the
he's
most.
behind Brandon Graham. He's a sack behind Brandon Graham.
Ooh. Maybe I misread it. He has 4, right?
He has 4. Brandon Graham, I believe, have 5 or 5.5.
Okay. So maybe I misread it then. Yeah. So now at this point, I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling a lot better at this point. Especially because of what happened next.
Yeah, Eagles get the ball back on Washington 40. Just a quick little 4-play drive. And Saquon Barkley gets his 3rd touchdown of the day. Yeah. Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts now are the second duo ever to have 3 touchdowns.
Each 3 rushing touchdowns.
First in the playoffs, second ever.
Yeah.
Insane.
Crazy. So at this point, I think this is when I turned to you and I said, we're going to the Super Bowl. And that was just a very like surreal feeling, right? To like you watch this team, right? I've been here the entire playoff run. I've been a diehard since I can remember, right? And just to be there and to be like, this game is over and we're going to win it, and now we're going to go play in the Super Bowl is just it's a feeling that I have difficulty putting into words. It's a very, very surreal, just unbelievable like feeling of like happiness, and just I want to hug and kiss everybody around me. Like honestly,
yeah,
it was
oh my God.
It was awesome. Yeah, so this game was over at that point. I think there were a few other possessions after that. I don't know.
Washington got the ball. Washington got the ball back. They end up going down the field. Quinyon Mitchell gets his 2nd career interception, covering Jerry McLaurin.
Lovely,
after
crazy
a deep ball
catch, by the way.
In the corner of the end zone. Crazy pick by Quinyon. Interception's not really against Jane Daniels. He had to throw it there.
Yeah.
There's only 5 minutes left in the game. You have to
you're chucking it to the end zone. You have to.
That point, the Eagles backups come in. Kenny Pickett's back in the game. Will Shipley's at the running back position, and Will Shipley goes for 57 yards.
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
That was 16 yards on the first carry. Timeout by Washington. 57 set us up at the 7-yard line.
Absolutely.
And then Shipley ends up taking the drive in after defensive offside set it up at the 2-yard line, and Shipley scores his first career touchdown in the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
And did you see Saquon? Saquon ran over and celebrated with him like he just scored his 4th touchdown.
Yeah, bro.
You gotta love Saquon.
I love the dynamic. I don't know if you mentioned it, but Gainwell had gone out with a concussion at this point.
Yes, Gainwell had gone out with a concussion,
which was why he wasn't in the game.
Shipley's in.
But dude, just the dynamic and the love that these Eagles have for each other this year, like especially just this year. I mean, dude, Saquon changed the whole team. He changed the whole team. So
Saquon and the defense, and Vic Fangio.
Yes, those are
Cooper DeJean.
Those are the 2 guys.
Yeah, big additions. Washington gets the ball back. Jane Daniels is pulled from the game. Mariota's in. There's a couple runs by Eckler. They know the game is over. Nicholas Morrow gets a tackle, the starting linebacker last year.
But
then Eagles get the ball. Kenny Pickett kneels, and the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl.
55 points. That's the most
55
points scored in a conference championship game ever by any team ever. 55. Damn. So obviously we both picked the Eagles in this game.
Yes.
I did not expect 55 points. Honestly, I did
not either.
I didn't even expect.
The game was close for most of it. It really wasn't
until
like
closer than it was
towards the end of the third, where the game kind of just exploded for the Eagles.
So I think it felt closer than it was just because of the proficiency of Washington's offense this year. Like that they can score points really quick. So I think
and with what Jane Daniels has done this year with like last second heroic comebacks, as we've known from Aaron's stats throughout the weeks.
It's got the stigma, man.
It's very scary. But the Eagles just
that man is not to be trifled with.
This is something that the Eagles, in my opinion, need to do. 2 weeks from now, in the Super Bowl, They can't have this game be close against Kansas City.
That's
Because if the game is close, well, we'll go to the AFC Championship.
It's easier.
If the game is close,
easier said
that's
than
more
done.
likely that the refs are going to impact the game.
Did you have any more notes on this one?
The refs. Just that I go Eagles. I love them. I
had a couple.
I love Saquon.
I had a couple of stats for you before we moved on to the AFC Championship game. So the previous 19 quarterbacks to lose in their Super Bowl debut have never returned to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts becomes the first quarterback to lose in his Super Bowl debut and return to a second Super Bowl since John Elway in 1991. It's pretty nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Can we just squash the? It was a bad day. Monday was a bad day for the Jalen Hurts Can't Pass Club. Really bad day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The dude was
Jalen
awesome.
Hurts
In
my opinion, is what Dallas fans think Dak is. And I think he's arguably the most underrated quarterback in the league because of how much Eagles hates he get and like how he's just playing styles just more of a running quarterback.
It's just the stigma.
They kind of have that stigma, and you could even argue the race angle if you're really thinking about it. Just because, but anyway, in my opinion, though, I think Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback, top 10 quarterback.
It's because
even higher in my eyes.
It's just because the Eagles win sloppy football games, right? They kind of play like Kansas City, to be honest, right?
I think Jalen Hurts is like one of the only players that like legitimately doesn't give a fuck about his stats.
Oh, dude, he doesn't care. I mean,
I know you care at all.
I know you've seen him in the post-game press conferences and like when he talks to the media. The dude literally does not give a fuck about what anyone says. It's I love it. I love it. I mean, sometimes it's annoying, right? Because like when they lose.
I mean, what do you think of the straitjacket comment that he made after this game?
I take it with a grain of salt. I mean, it is like he's just poking fun, right? He knows the situation. He knows what people are saying, right? Like, so for those of you who didn't see it, he says it feels like the straitjacket's been taken off of me in this one. Like they let go of the straitjacket a little bit, which is to say, like they let me throw the ball a little bit more. So, but I mean, that had to be the game plan, right? Like he wouldn't have said that if they didn't make like an in-game adjust. Like if that wasn't the game plan, he wouldn't have said that, right? That was clearly the game plan to throw the ball more. So,
yep.
One other thing that I heard on Monday night, I think you'd mentioned Brandon Graham earlier, the most sacks in franchise history.
Yes, I did.
Is he
the rumor
back
mills
for the Super Bowl?
He could be coming back.
So according to Marcus Hayes of the Philadelphia Inquirer, Graham is expected to come off of injured reserve and attempt to get ready for Super Bowl 59 for what is expected to be the final game of his career. Bro, how insane would that be if he came back from a torn pec?
Torn tricep.
Torn tricep from like not even 2 months ago. And he's trying to get ready for this game. Crazy.
The thing I will say is that I mean I think it's still a long shot, and I think the fact that the triceps, it's hard for him to get like power from his arms. So I mean he's gonna give it a go.
I mean they're not gonna.
It'd be awesome to have him out there. I wouldn't put too much credence in it just based on the nature of injury, but like if he's out there, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, he's going to be on the sidelines regardless. He's going to be with the team, throughout the whole
rotational
process,
guy. So. Yeah, he's going to be there for sure.
So it'll be interesting. So again, final score.
Oh, also, I forgot to mention during one of the Washington drives.
Oh,
I believe it was the one that ended in their second field goal. What a ballsy fake punt call.
Oh yeah, dude. I forgot, but you didn't even mention that.
Quinn by Trustway kind of dropped it,
bruh.
But like again, as I stated, that was crazy.
That was nuts. That was an insane call. They were like, it was
4th and 6 on your own 31, and you call a fake punt like that.
It was 4th and 3. It was 14-3, right?
4th and 6.
No,
4th and 6.
What was the score of the game?
On 31. At that point, it was 7-3.
Dude, that's
14-3.
It was 14-3, bro.
14-3.
It was 14-3, bruh. That's insane. That's like that is mental. That is just psychotic behavior. It worked out for him though.
Huge play though. Like if they didn't get that, then
this game God, dude, it would have been a
55, whatever.
It may have been a route
way earlier.
Yeah, it may have been just.
The routing, which was destined to happen just based on the talent disparity, I think would have happened way earlier if they don't get that.
It may have been a big route.
Big punt.
So again, final score: Eagles 55, Commanders 23. Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, second appearance.
Most points
in 3
scored
years.
ever in a conference championship.
We love that as resident Eagles fans. We will
We
not be
love
going to the Super
Eagles.
Bowl, even though we did look.
We did have talks about it.
We
We
had
did have discussions.
no.
We did do plenty of research.
We didn't just have talks. We had serious talks about it. Like
We had serious
we
talks,
had
serious
logistical
research.
talks about getting there and
Yep.
whatnot. So
Looked up flights, looked up hotels.
I don't want to say it almost materialized, but there were definitely intense talks about it. So
Yes,
maybe
it was a higher than 50% chance.
Maybe if one of us hits, hey, maybe we put all our KBT's winnings for the next 10 years towards it.
Yeah,
maybe
we could have done it. Maybe we like stacked all the when the KBTs was on streak, if we stacked it all.
Oh my
could have done it.
Could you imagine? That would be a crazy story.
And then we would have stacked it all on the feast. Oh my god.
Two podcasters stacked their winnings. No, but we would have eventually lost it though.
Well, no, if we just stopped at the feast.
How would we have known?
Like,
How would we have known? We wouldn't have known.
You're right. We would never have known.
We wouldn't have known.
It's hypothetical.
It's a hypothetical, yeah. All right. So Eagles win. Now it's time for the AFC Championship Game between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. And Kyle,
wow.
I've got the same news for you. The Chiefs won. 32-29. The Chiefs are headed back to the Super Bowl again. So with this loss, Josh Allen...
They can't keep getting away with it.
Josh Allen became the first quarterback in NFL history to lose 4 playoff games to the same quarterback. Obviously, it's Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
Dude, the boogeyman strikes again. The boogeyman strikes
Baba
again.
Yaga.
It's crazy, dude. He literally just keeps getting away with it. It's nuts. All right, so let's take you through this one. Bills receive first. Immediately go 3 and out. Takes less than a minute. Crazy. They got excellent pressure by Chris Jones. Josh Allen was basically almost picked off on second and third down in that drive. Threw up some ducks. So the Bills go 3 and out. Chiefs get the ball first. First 2 plays from Kansas City, very quick. They utilize the slant routes over the middle of the field, move the ball. Juju Smith-Schuster has a huge catch and run over the middle, sets the Chiefs up at the Bills 22. And I noticed at this point they were doing a lot of RPOs on that first drive. A lot of RPOs, and they stuck with that for most of the game. So I think that'll be an interesting, just from the Eagles-Chiefs matchup, how Fangio tries to kind of limit that. Because I think the Chiefs had a hell of a lot of success on those RPOs.
Chiefs had very creative play calls on both sides of the ball. They kind of just open up the whole playbook now.
Yeah.
Like, like Nick Wright, as much you love him, hate him. You only really love him if you're a Chiefs fan. But he does bring up the fact how the Chiefs really don't really care until AFC Championship mode. Mahomes has been here every year. He's been a starter. And this is kind of the moment where they pull out all the stops at this point.
Well, I mean,
obviously the Super Bowl.
To be expected, right? I mean, I'm sure we're gonna see some.
I mean, we're gonna talk about it as we continue, but
yeah. So yeah, a lot of RPO plays. Chiefs are driving into Bills territory. Kareem Hunt takes the ball into the end zone. Hope you guys bet it. Told you.
Matt's moneymakers.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. I
forgot to mention that Matt's moneymakers of the NFC Championship, all 3 hit.
No, all 5 hit.
We haven't gone to the AFC yet. The 3 of the NFC hit.
Take
1 touchdown, Saquon over 100 rushing yards.
De'Ami Brown.
And De'Ami Brown, which that was close.
Yeah, guess what? It doesn't matter. It hit.
It doesn't matter if it's close.
It don't matter.
As long as it's over.
So Hunt takes it into the end zone. Chiefs strike first. 5-minute drive. 7-0 Chiefs. At this point, I also noticed after the Bills got the ball back, the Bills fans made their way to Kansas City. There were a lot of Bills.
Yeah,
fans
there was
there.
a lot of.
You could hear it on
stands.
You could hear it on the broadcast. Like they consistently throughout the game, they were cheering for the Bills.
Also, the tickets were half the price as they were in Lincoln Financial.
Yeah, crazy. So the Bills get the ball back. They start driving. What about that Josh Allen fumble? Fumbles the snap on 2nd and 5, dives on it. And that kind of just stalls out the drive. They fail to pick up the first down. Tyler Bass, though, hammers it from 53 yards out. So it's a 7-3 game at this point. And then I think this was the first of 2 turning points in this game. With just under 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, Bills cornerback Christian Benford collides headfirst with teammate DeMar Hamlin and suffers another concussion. I say another because this is his second in an 8-day span. I believe the NFL is being pushed to investigate the clearance of Benford in the championship game to begin with. But in my opinion, this changed the game entirely. Two reasons. Benford has been Buffalo's best cover cornerback this season. Not even close. The guy's got speed, young guy, rookie. He was being, he's the guy that can keep up with Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, the fast guys. Number two, not having him in the field definitely opened up the passing game for Kansas City, in my opinion. I think you saw it very early on, right? Get the ball out quick, run the ball, get it out quick, right? Then after Benford goes out, you see Mahomes start to drop back in coverage a lot more. Now, granted, I know that they only had like a drive and a half with Benford on the field, so it's a small sample size. But I firmly believe that was Kansas City's game plan, right? Get the ball out quick, run the ball. Get the ball out quick, run the ball. After that, you saw Mahomes dropping back a lot more. Like, not even just on 3rd and long, like 2nd and short, 1st and 10. Like, you saw it a lot more. So, I think that was turning point number 1 in this game, was Benford getting hurt. So they start driving. And then, first controversial call in this game. Mahomes fumbles, and the Bills recover. But hold on. Here comes what, Kyle?
Le flag.
The flag. Offsides. Ed Oliver, of course. It was close. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it's not a.
He was offside.
It's not a bad call. I actually think he timed it pretty well, in my opinion. I don't know.
But I think he still was offside.
Yeah, it's not really that controversial of a call. It kind of just is what it is. I personally think he was onside. I think maybe the leaning forward of the helmet over the line of scrimmage was probably what did it, but I thought he timed it pretty well. So, wipe off the fumble. Chiefs get the ball back. They're looking poised to score again. But apparently the football gods aren't having it, because a few plays later, Mahomes goes to hand it off to Isaiah Pacheco, and there's another fumble on the exchange, and who picks it up? Ed Oliver. Redemption. The Bills are back in business. They're in their own territory at their own 20-something, but they're back in business. Honestly, dude, the Chiefs were probably going to score a touchdown. They looked unstoppable on that drive. I don't know what you were thinking, but they being 14-3, and they're getting the ball first in the second half. Buffalo had the odds stacked against them if that's a touchdown, but it's not. James Cook is the recipient of the ball primarily on this next drive. Sets the Bills up in Chiefs territory. Did you sneeze? God bless you.
Yes, I did sneeze. Thank you.
I got a question. Where do you think James Cook ranks among running backs in the NFL? I don't know. I think we've had this.
I think he's a top 10 guy.
Dude,
I think he's underrated.
It's been great.
I know. Year. I took him in my fantasy draft as my RB2 to my RB1 up there, my boy, and he was excellent.
Quads.
So I think he's underrated. I think I might have mentioned this at the beginning of the year, but how James Cook played at the end of the year last year under the Joe Brady offense.
You saw it a lot this year.
Very impressive.
You saw it a lot.
And we saw it a lot more this year.
Absolutely.
So I think I recommended taking James Cook. I hope those listening did, and hopefully they won their championships and didn't get screwed out by Brandon Aubrey like myself. But yeah, I think he's definitely a top tier running back for sure. Especially now that like all these older guys going to start falling off the running back cliff soon.
Yeah, right. So James Cook sets the Bills up in Chiefs territory. They pick up a crucial 3rd down on a slant to Cooper. On the next play, Josh Allen gets sacked by Mike Dana, and this was the play where he got like thrown back, and I'm like, that's gonna be a fumble, but somehow he had the grip strength to just hold on to the ball. Crazy, dude. Guy's got he must have massive hands or something. I don't know. Crazy. I watched that play several times. I'm like, I still don't know how he held on to it. So a 3rd and 13 comes up for Buffalo. Bullet pass to Khalil Shakir, moves the sticks. And on the next play, James Cook takes the ball, makes a move, and takes it in for 6. And just like that, it's a 10-7 lead for the Bills. They were pressed up. They were looking like they were going to be down 11. Now they're up 3. So huge turnover. And by the way, I didn't mention it, but that was Kansas City's first turnover since week 12. Yeah,
It's wild.
that's wild.
Wild stat.
Crazy.
Wild.
So Chiefs get the ball back. They look like they're been forced into a 3-and-out. But the Chiefs go for it on 4th down on their own 39 and pick it up courtesy of a Patrick Mahomes quarterback keeper. We don't talk about gutsy calls in the playoff, right? We talked about that fake punt.
Dude, what an incredible play call there, though,
we talked about that fake
say.
punt earlier.
They kind of did that like little rollout pass, but then like
yeah,
Mahomes does
it wasn't
a lot, like the little rollout scrambles.
Yeah, it wasn't
like he had the guy. They ran this same play like 3 other times.
Yeah, and it worked. It worked like
they got first downs every time.
It worked like every time. Yeah, it wasn't quite like your traditional RPO with the running back, to the right or left, but it was like that. It was like that rollout, right, where you're talking about like you can just dump it off or keep it. And he took it.
Either dump it or
took it and ran.
And he took it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and again, right, if you're Kansas City, you're down 3, right? Buffalo just had a huge momentum swing. They're about to make you go 4-and-out, right? If you don't pick this up, and they get the ball in your territory, they pick it up. That's a huge, huge point in the game. So gutsy call by Andy Reid. They pick it up. And I thought this drive was where you really started to see the effect of that Benford injury that we talked about earlier. They started using the middle of the field a lot more. Mahomes started dropping back, comeback routes, right? And the like, a lot more. And the other Bills cornerbacks they really couldn't keep up with the speed, man. They had a lot of difficulty. You saw a lot of open Chiefs receivers on this drives. So a face mask call gets the Chiefs to the Bills' 11-yard line, and then Mahomes connects with Xavier Worthy. Really good throw, really good catch. And the Chiefs take the lead right back, so it's 14-10 Kansas City. Mahomes 5 of 5 on that drive. They looked really, really good, really, really crisp. So the Bills get the ball back. There was an extremely
3-and-out.
Yeah, there was an extremely late flag on that drive that came in. It was like an illegal formation. I think remember that when we were in the car and we were like,
yeah, it was a pretty late. It was weird. But, they declined it anyway.
Yeah, the announcers in Gene's territory had no idea. They were like, I don't know. Gene was literally like, yeah, I have no idea what these guys are doing. Makes you wonder. So yeah, the KC defense holds, forces a punt, and then Nico Remigio. That's a name you might hear in the Super Bowl. This guy, undrafted rookie from Fresno State. He's made a lot of splashes recently. This is I feel like what Kansas City really wanted Kadarius Toney to be, like that speed returner, but like not Kadarius Toney. Yeah, really, really good return, 44 yards. Chiefs are right back in business again. And then we've got another controversial call, Kyle. It's a bomb from Mahomes to Xavier Worthy, who supposedly comes down with it. There's a weak holding call on Buffalo. I thought it was a weak call going back to the replay. So it doesn't matter. Like the penalty wipes out this play, whatever. But the Buffalo defender and Worthy come down with it simultaneously. Which I guess in the rules, right, is if it's a simultaneous
tie goes to the receiver.
Tie goes to the runner, sort of thing with baseball, right? Tie goes to the receiver. I don't really know if Worthy had it though. And on top of that, the ball like at this point, right, they both kind of have it. I don't think either has possession at this point. The ball hits the ground. So
yeah, the tip of the ball hits the ground. Out of all the plays, all the controversy of this game, this is the play that I personally feel the refs got wrong more so than anything else. Yeah. I think this should have been ruled incomplete, which granted probably wouldn't have mattered because of the defensive hold.
Yeah, it
would have been a first down anyway. But it did set them up at the Buffalo 3.
Yeah.
So also arguably you could argue, not thinking about it more after the fact. You argue they get the first down there, they probably drain more clock and score.
Yeah.
Call Buffalo ended up getting the ball back and scoring a touchdown anyway.
Yeah, right.
So
hindsight's
2020. Argue that hindsight's 2020, but in my opinion, I think this should be called incomplete. The whole deal with the ball touching the tip of the ground reminds me a lot of the play earlier and not really a consequential game, but the Rams. Well, I guess it did because Seahawks could have won the division. Anyway, the Rams Arizona game.
Yeah.
And I think that was week 17 or
it was
16.
It was 16 or 17. It was towards the end of the year. But
yeah,
I know exactly.
The Rams guy caught it in the air.
I know exactly what play you're talking
the tip
about.
Of the ball, but they're like he had control.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bitch, what the
Bro,
fuck?
I'm like the ball's on the ground, dude. How could you have control?
They hit the touch the ground.
The thing with this one was I don't think either player had possession prior to the ball touching the ground, which is why I felt
I mean, the ball's
strongly.
not really moving, but I don't think you can
No,
really
but
say either
neither
have
neither
possession. That's why
guy
I
has
think
it.
that you could argue.
Yeah, so like you can survive the ground with the ball grazing the ground as long as you have possession and the ball doesn't move, right? Like we've seen that call before.
Yeah.
But like the thing was, I don't think either guy had possession yet, and they still called it, tie goes to the receiver.
Yeah.
So whatever. I mean, defensive hold again. I thought it was a weak call. Just my opinion. Whatever. So
Anyway,
yeah,
it sets Buffalo up at the 3. It sets Kansas City
Kansas
up
City,
at
yeah.
Buffalo 3-yard line.
Mahomes
They end
rolls
up
out,
punching
takes it
in with a
himself.
scramble.
Yep. Another Chiefs touchdown, and the late hit by DeMar Hamlin, which oddly enough they enforced on the extra point, made it like a shorter extra point.
Yeah, I thought that was quite
kind of
bizarre.
weird.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, kind of weird, but yeah, you see Mahomes immediately. He's like, "We do
you, boo."
Yeah, so it's another Chiefs touchdown. So was it 21-10 at this point, right?
21-10.
21-10.
Yeah.
Not that much time left. That's two. And by the way, for those
minute
counting
55,
at home,
the 2-minute warning had just occurred.
for those of you counting at home, that's two
Mahomes run.
Kansas City touchdowns in the last 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Kind of wild. And they get the ball first. So like now you really got to put some points up if you're Buffalo.
Yeah, you don't want to be up. You don't want to be down 11 going into half.
So Josh Allen, 2-minute drill, 2 timeouts. Bills get into Chiefs territory. We're under 30 seconds at this point. Allen uncorks it and finds who? Mac Hollins? Am I reading this right?
Former Philadelphia Eagle?
Mac Hollins makes a huge catch. Great catch, by the way. Outstretched over the hands of Trent McDuffie.
Yeah.
Beautiful throw, beautiful catch. Touchdown Bills. And it's absolutely a huge touchdown. Bass Tech's on the extra point, but Justin Reed is offsides. So you know what? The Bills say, we'll take the point off the board. We're going for 2. We're going to make this a field goal game, right? They try like a tush-push-esque play, but no dice, and Kansas City's ready for it. So it's 21-16 Chiefs heading into the locker room. Again, big play, right? 2 points, field goal game. Not anymore. Still got to score a touchdown to beat us. But it was a huge touchdown for Buffalo. They absolutely needed it. It was absolutely essential for the Bills to remain in that game because you're down 11 at the half and you don't even get the ball first, right? Like that just sets up Kansas City to just tick, 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 run the clock off, right? We've seen them do it a million times. So yeah, absolutely huge touchdown by Buffalo. So it's Chiefs ball to start the second half. They immediately start moving the ball. There were a couple nice plays from Kareem Hunt, Hollywood Brown. The Chiefs find themselves with a 3rd and 11. It's borderline field goal range. And Matt Milano breaks through, trips up Mahomes in the backfield, and forces what would have been a field goal attempt into a punt. So, well, I think you had mentioned this last week when we were talking about it, right? The Matt Milano effect. The Matt Milano
effect.
Being back was huge for Buffalo, right? They definitely needed the help in the secondary.
Huge for Buffalo in both games, in the divisional round and this game, unfortunately, with the result of this game. But
yeah. So Bills get the ball back. They immediately start running the football, which is, we'll get into this later, but I think what is a pretty good sign for the Eagles. There's a 33-yard run by James Cook, gets them into Chiefs territory. They find themselves with a 4th down. Josh Allen picks it up with his legs. 8 straight runs for Buffalo at this point. Start this drive before a pass to Dawson Knox on 1st and goal gets them to the KC 2. Kansas City defense holding out though. They deny Buffalo on 2 straight runs. They bring up 4th and goal, and James Cook, dude, Superman, unbelievable play. They bounce it out with him mid-air, trying to find his balance, keeps his knees and forearms off the ground, outstretched for the Bills touchdown. Huge man.
Huge play.
That was an unbelievable play by James Cook. Dives midair, lunges, scores. Bills again go for 2, right? Because they're trying to make it a field goal game. And they are again unsuccessful. This time Josh Allen is sacked. So it's 22-21 Buffalo with the 3rd quarter winding down. So we've got a good game. We've got a really good game. It's not like the NFC Conference Championship, right? This is a good game. We don't know who's going to win yet. So the Bills defense, they're especially motivated on this next drive. They force Kansas City to go 3 and out. Mahomes actually had a really nice pass to Hollywood Brown on the 3rd and 15 attempt, but Brown just couldn't keep his balance on the sidelines. Hit him in the hands. I thought he should have caught it, but hits the dirt. So the Chiefs punt. Bills go right back to running the football. They find themselves with a 2nd and 1. They get stuffed twice. Again, another 4th down. Josh Allen goes up and over the top, fumbles the football, but somehow he catches it midair, and he keeps it. So it's
that was kind of crazy.
1st down, Buffalo. Yeah, dude, literally punched out and then caught it right in the breadbasket. So it's 3rd and 3, Buffalo at the Kansas City 43. Kyle, we have reached turning point number 2. You're not going to agree with me.
I think we disagree. We disagree here, man.
You are. I don't know if you've looked around the internet or heard the radio or watched the news.
Are probably the only people that are agreeing.
You,
with the call.
My friend, are in the minority with your opinion.
I am in the minority.
So 3rd and 3, Buffalo at the Kansas City 43. Allen flips it over to Dalton Kincaid, dives, and appears to be just an inch or so short of the 1st down. It was pretty close. The officials say no, your knee was down way before that, right? Like, nah. So he's well short of the line of the game. I saw this multiple times from multiple different angles. It was definitely 4th and inches. Absolutely should have been 4th and inches.
Yes, absolutely 4th and inches for sure.
Yeah, but it's not. The officials get the spot wrong, and it's a 4th and a long 1. So terrible spot, number 1. Now it's 4th and 1 Buffalo at the Kansas City 41. Josh Allen, tush push. And in my opinion, and the opinions of almost everybody out there, he gets there. I think it's so clear that he got there. I think there's no way you can tell me he was short.
I don't think you can't really see the ball. When I watched it live, I didn't think he got it. I didn't think he got it.
You know where the ball is, though. The ball.
No, the way he was positioned with the ball. You really
it's
can't
not
tell.
moving. It's right
and
here
honestly,
the whole time.
I personally did not think there was enough to overturn. The refs may have called it wrong. I don't think there was an angle.
It should have been ruled 1st down is my point. It should have been ruled.
You argue that point just so they could do more review on it, but I don't think there's a clear point of the ball. And I think that based on what was shown on the broadcast and what you can't see with the ball and why the refs ruled it on the field, because the refs had the better view because there's no like pure sideline view.
Yeah.
And even the overhead view, you don't really see it.
Go watch.
You don't see the ball clearly going over the line, and by rule, that's technically a stop.
You
don't count this as me. I'm a chief apologist.
I know you're being objective here. I
didn't want them to win.
I know you're trying to
be objective.
I know you're trying to be objective.
I do not think it crossed.
I just think objectively you're wrong. I think it's so clear that you're wrong. You know where the ball is. Here's number 1. You know where the ball is. It's tucked against his...
You don't know where the ball is.
Yes, you do. You can see it on the replay the entire time. You know where the ball is. The only point where you can't see the ball is where... I forget who it was.
You could argue it crosses.
Yeah, but the ball is not moving, Kyle. That's my point. The ball is always right in his chest. Because you could see it not moving the entire time. And the only time you can't see it is when number 95 in the Chiefs goes in front of the camera. But prior to that, and every time Josh Allen touches the ball when he's being pushed, you can see the ball right here. It doesn't move once. It's right there in his chest, dude. Go watch John Boy's breakdown of it. John Boy has a very good video. It's a great. He's there. It's a 1st down. There's no doubt in my mind. So the boundary official on the left, right, has him over basically a yard over the line to gain, and then the boundary official on the right has him short by like a yard. And so this is just another thing, right? Like, spotting the ball in the NFL is so stupid. It's so objectively dumb and stupid. Like, who gets to spot the ball, right? They're basically 2 yards off of each other, right? One has them a yard short, one has them a yard over. Who gets to spot it? Whoever gets there first? Like, it makes no sense. Like, and then they're trying to like converge on a spot, and like the players on the way, they're moving their line where they started walking toward. It's like, it's so just put a chip in the ball. We have technology. Like, why can't we do that? I don't understand why it's so hard to spot the football. Anyway.
The one thing I will say in general, though I agree that with the refs, unfortunately, that I do not think it was the 1st down because of the way that I think also with the way the ball was positioned is kind of straight. It's not really the tip of the ball.
It doesn't matter. He's over, dude. He's so over.
Doesn't matter, Matt. The one thing I will say, the Bills ran this QB tush push 5 times and it was stopped almost every. The only time it wasn't stopped was arguably this play, which people could argue, but according to the rules on the field, It was not.
Mm-hmm.
It was not first down. And then also there was the when he actually dove over the line.
Yeah.
The Chiefs said on the broadcast to Romo during like a pre-game meeting or whatever that the Bills tend to run this left, and they stopped them almost every time.
Yeah.
They stopped them. So if you are the Bills,
Oh,
you ran
Jim, I
this at
don't
this
know,
point
Jim.
4 times,
I don't know.
and you didn't get it, except for the one time you went over. Why would you run it again? It wasn't working against
It's
them.
a fair point.
If you
It's a
want
fair
to get
point.
the first down, make it clear and obvious. And in my opinion, you could argue he got it, but it wasn't clear and obvious.
Look, it's a fair point.
If you need that 1 yard, do a different play call.
It's a fair point, but they got it wrong.
That's kind of my opinion on it.
It's a fair point, but they got it wrong. And of course, the call goes in the Chiefs' favor, because of course it would. Of course it would.
Mm-hmm.
We need that discourse. We need that discourse going around.
Well, that's why I'm saying that. That's why I said earlier that I think for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, and I think they will win, the game can't be close this late in the game.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you do not want the game in the refs' hands when playing the Kansas City Chiefs.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Because the Chiefs don't beat themselves.
No, they don't.
Chiefs play phenomenal football.
They made one mistake.
They played great games. They have made one mistake all game.
Yeah.
Buffalo made mistakes throughout the entire game. I don't think Sean McDermott had a great plan. They said after the game, like, Kansas City threw stuff at us that we weren't even expecting. It was a purely out-coaching job by Andy Reid.
Okay, number one, I agree with. All right, Spags definitely had the defense ready. I agree with that. Andy Reid did outcoach Sean McDermott. I agree with that as well. I think you saw Buffalo finally try and start to figure it out with the whole, when they started to run the ball effectively. Obviously, 3rd and 4th and short was a different story, but on the whole, they started to run the ball, a lot more effectively. So I think they finally started to, figure it out a little bit. And then on defense, again, I bring up the Benford injury again, but you have to make adjustments, throughout the middle of the game to win the game. So I agree with most of your points there. I still think Josh Allen got it, and I still think this was a huge turning point in the game. So okay, let's move on. So Kansas City takes over, right? After the whole fiasco, they take over. They start driving. Juju Smith, big catch and run, missed tackle, 29 yards. Kareem Hunt takes it to the Buffalo 10, and then Mahomes RPO action takes it in again. Very similar to the one that we saw on third. It was a little bit more
another one that's basically the same thing with the other rollout.
It was a bit of a more
dump it off to the running back.
This one was a bit more of a conventional RPO. Yeah, you got to get a guy out there. Honestly,
how do you stop that?
You got to put a
spy 4 times and they got it every time.
I don't know. I think you got to put a spy on either the left or right, behind the left or right end, and then bring a safety down and play cover 2 or something. That's how I would try to do it. Because if they roll out, I think you put a linebacker spy on whatever side you think he's going to go to, and then you play cover 2 or Tampa 2 or something like that, and then you just pull one of the safeties down, especially if you're near the goal line, right? Because you can get away with bringing one of your safeties down a little bit more easier than if you were midfield or something. So then that's what I would do. That's what I would try to do anyway. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Mahomes again picks it up, RPO, in for the touchdown. And they convert the 2-point conversion now. So that's 2 Buffalo failed 2-point conversions, 4 points. And then you have the Kansas City conversion, which is another 2 points. That's a 6-point swing right there. That's big, man. Mm-hmm. Considering this game came down to 3 points, huge swing. So it's 29-22 Kansas City, about 10 minutes left in the game. Buffalo gets the ball back. 2 plays, they're already in Kansas City territory. James Cook, catch and run. 3rd and 8 from the Kansas City 38. Allen again, dude. Mac Hollins again. Another big play, this time for 32. Who had Mac Hollins being the Bills' leading receiver? I certainly did not.
Not me.
I certainly did not. He finished with 3 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown. So, big game for Mac Hollins. Yeah, so they get it all the way down into the Chiefs. I think it was the 6 or 5 or something like that. 4-yard line.
4-yard line.
4-yard line. And again, dude, the Kansas City defense holds strong. They force another 4th and goal, but this time, Josh Allen finds Curtis Samuel all alone in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Bills. Tyler Bass, PAT, makes it a 29-29 game. 6 minutes and 15 seconds left. My God. So I think going back to what you said earlier, that you said there was clearly an out-coaching job on Reed's part over McDermott. Again, I think primarily why you're saying that is because you saw time and time again the Bills struggle on 3rd and short, 4th and short, like short yardage situations, goal line situations, and the Chiefs had answers almost every single time. Like they were extremely good on 3rd and 4th and short. So I think your point does hold a little bit. Definitely on the short yardage situations, I would say more so. So 6:15 left, tie ball game. Chiefs, they get into Bills territory, courtesy of a face mask call against Matt Milano. And then later, Mahomes finds Xavier Worthy for a 23-yard pickup. And all of a sudden, the Bills, or I should say the Chiefs, are at the Buffalo 10. So it's 1st and goal Chiefs. Now, 1st and goal, Jordan Phillips of the Buffalo Bills breaks through. Huge sack of Mahomes. 7-yard loss. Backs him up. Bills, they hold on 2nd and 3rd and goal. And they force the Chiefs out of the end zone, but Harrison Butker nails the 35-yard field goal. 32-29 Chiefs. 3:33 left. 3 timeouts for the Buffalo Bills. They get the ball back. Josh Allen, again with his legs, moves the ball to the Bills' 42. There was an incompletion and a batted ball, which makes it 3rd and 10. And then a somewhat failed screen pass. The guy kind of fell down. They didn't get the blocker. They didn't pull the guard that early. 5 yards. So now it's 4th and 5, right? And now you're thinking, right, all right, we got 3 timeouts, but you're losing. So they're going to go for it. And I agree with this call, right? They're at their own 47, right? So it's your odds aren't that good of winning the game if the Chiefs take over here. But I think at that point you kind of had to go for it, right? Would you agree?
Wait, whoa. Where are we talking about? Kansas City got the field goal already?
I say the Chiefs. I meant
right?
the Bills. The Bills.
You meant the Chiefs? Chiefs got the field goal.
Chiefs got the field goal with Bills ball. 4th and 5 at their own 47.
Bills ball, 4th and 5. Well, yeah, you have to go for it because you have timeouts. God forbid you could hopefully stop them.
Yeah.
And another back-to-back AFC second place teams to the Chiefs that lose on a bad drop by the tight end. This one's not as bad as the Mark Andrews drop, but it was very close.
Dude.
So
this was kind of
a shot at it.
This was kind of like unbelievable that the ball even got there, right? So it's 4th and 5. Buffalo does decide to go for it. The protection completely falls apart, like instantaneously. Josh Allen is forced to.
No, it was an absolutely great play call by Spags.
It was a good play call, but they were just not ready.
They did like a corner blitz. It just messed up their entire protection.
They brought down a corner.
To throw the ball.
They brought down a corner onto the line of scrimmage and like hit him. They did a stunt with the edge, and then he just came fucking flying through, dude.
Free right at him.
Free.
It was a phenomenal.
And then
blitz
on top of that, the interior defensive lineman also won his battle. So you had like 2 or 3 people running straight at Josh Allen almost instantaneously.
Just prayer.
So he's backpedaling. But yeah, basically throws up a prayer. As soon as he threw it, I'm like, this ball's either going to get batted down or picked off. There's no way. Somehow finds itself in between 3 Chiefs defenders, all within like 5 to 7 yards of each other. And Kincaid's right in the middle of them. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to make his catch. So he's diving, right? He's not in the best position to catch it. The ball hit him in the hands, though, dude. And this is like 30, 40 yards downfield. So if he catches this ball, they're well within field goal range immediately. So, yeah, it hits him right in the hands. I know he's diving to the ground, like I said, but falls incomplete. And then a flag came out, and then like they never mentioned what it was for.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
They picked it up.
Didn't like that.
Yeah, probably insurance for KC.
Little sussy-wussy.
There's probably insurance for Kansas City in case Kincaid caught it. That's my internal I hate the Chiefs thoughts thinking. That's probably what most of America's thinking. That's not my accurate reflection of what I think that flag was.
I think on the broadcast they thought like that was a false start or something.
I don't know what it was.
They didn't even know on the broadcast.
I didn't even see where it came in on the field. Like I had no idea. I just saw it at the end of the play. I thought it was weird. So yeah, ball is incomplete. Kansas City takes over, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the last time that Josh Allen will touch the ball in this football game. The Bills burn all 3 timeouts. and a 17-yard dump off to Samaje Perine on 3rd and 9 seals it. Kansas City 32, Buffalo 29. The Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl for the 3rd straight season.
Growl.
Grow. Yeah, man. They are Thanos. They are Thanos. They are inevitable.
They are inevitable.
They are inevitable, man. Mahomes finished with 245 passing yards and a score, plus 43 more and 2 more scores on the ground. Here's what I thought was interesting. Kareem Hunt, 17 carries, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco, 5 carries for 12 yards, and that's it. And he had the, I mean, he wasn't credited with the fumble, Mahomes was, but he was there on the muffed exchange when Mahomes fumbled it and Buffalo recovered, which led to a Bills touchdown. Kind of strange, right? Like, I don't know. I thought
you gotta remember, Pacheco's coming off a broken femur.
No. I get it. I was gonna say take this with a grain of salt, right? I was gonna say take this with a grain of salt, but I thought they were gonna be more of like a 2-headed monsters kind of thing going on. But
so did I.
You know, Kareem Hunt.
I remember, like, it's like you gotta think of a broken femur as an adult man or like as a normal person. That's a very long recovery.
If I broke my femur, I'd be out for like the next year. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, these people are superhuman.
I'll tell you what, though, Kareem Hunt looks really, really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, he's playing really well.
So yeah, the Chiefs are moving on to Super Bowl 59. Chiefs and Eagles rematch from Super Bowl 57 2 years ago, this time in the Bayou at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Sunday, February 9th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, before we get into the matchup preview, which we're going to save mostly for next week, we're probably, what are we at, like an hour and a half right now? So we'll give some quick, thoughts here and there, maybe for like
Chiefs 5-10 up minutes. At -1.5.
Yes, the Chiefs are a minus
under at 49.5.
Point and a half favorite for the Chiefs. Kyle, I wanted to talk to you though because I did get both of my picks right this week. I did pick the Eagles and I did pick the Chiefs. So 2-0, 8-4 in the playoffs.
I got those picks right back in August.
Yes. So Kyle, you nailed the Super Bowl in the preseason.
I nailed the Super Bowl.
And I know it was a boring pick, right? I know.
Yeah.
I know it was a boring pick or whatever, right? Oh,
it's so impressive.
It's so easy, dude. It's so impressive. Are you kidding me? Like, just because that was probably one of the more favored, matchups doesn't mean it's not impressive. Still picked it.
Yeah.
So, I know there's no KBTs, but I did a little thing called what'd you call it, Kyle?
Matt's Moneymakers.
Matt's Moneymakers. I gave you guys 5 props from last week. Well, yeah, I guess it was technically 5 because I did 1 for each team, but mine for the Eagles.
You did a double.
Yeah, I did Saquon 100 yards and a touchdown for mine. I went 5 for 5, guys. I hope you guys bet it. I hope you guys bet at least one of them because I
just wish I bet more because I remember I put $1 on it because I was like, dang, that's a lot of odds.
Yeah.
And I wish I put more money.
Well, look, here's the thing. I bet $13.62. I got a 25% parlay boost, and I won $234.12.
Wow.
Dude, look at that.
Wow.
I can't really see it, but phone rotate.
So you got props for the Super Bowl, bud?
Bro,
next week?
Now the pressure's on, right? Now the pressure's on.
I gotta stay tuned for next week.
Now the pressure's on. I'm gonna have to do some research going in.
Matt's Moneymakers has won more units for you than the KBTs has all year.
I did it, guys. I did it. What can I say?
Wait, wait. What was the odds?
Well, I had a profit boost, so it was plus.
Well, yeah, without the profit boost.
Without the profit boost, it was plus $12.95. With the profit boost, 25%, it was $16.19.
Okay, so actually, if you bet the KBTs, including the parlay of the feast, where you combine the teases, then you did make more this season than the Matt's Moneymakers.
Pretty good,
it's pretty close.
That's pretty
like
good.
12
well,
units
I also,
17.
To be fair, I advised not. I said bet like $5 on like the whole thing, and then I would say pick your best 1 or 2, and then put like your normal amount of units on, which I did. Right, I did bet these all straight, and then I was like, all right, well, I got the profit boost. I might as well, right? I know the profit boosts are from DK at least. I feel like they're a money grab, right? Like I've hit on like one.
Yeah,
or two
I mean
of them.
they are designed to be a money grab.
They're designed to be a money grab. So I was like, all right, let me bet like $13. That's fine, whatever. But the plays were Josh Allen over on passing yards, 232, I should say. Finished with 237, covered that. We had Kareem Hunt anytime touchdown. That was my number one bet, and I bet that straight. I put $50 on that, and I fucking hit it, and I'm so happy.
Wow.
And I'm telling you right now, that's going to be another one that I advise you to bet next week. Guys, 6 career postseason games, he scored in every one of them. Ride it until it doesn't hit, right? Like, why wouldn't you?
Well, the Eagles are going to stop the Chiefs from scoring at all. Shut out.
I get it. The Eagles don't really let up rushing touchdowns, so take that with a grain of salt. But it's the Chiefs and it's the Super Bowl, and I feel like one of the touchdowns the Chiefs score is going to be Kareem Hunt. So
I will not be betting any Chiefs props.
I had Saquon 100 yards and a touchdown. That was basically done in the first quarter. And then De'Ami Brown over 40.5. That one was close. So that one,
yeah, I think he finished with 43.
That one we hit in like the second quarter, and I was like, oh, fucking easy, right? I don't think he got another catch the entire game.
Yeah.
So I think he actually finished with like 40. What was it like? It was like 45 yards or 46 yards.
He finished with 42 yards.
Fucking hell, dude! Oh my god.
On 30
and you know
catches.
what's funny is that line actually opened up at 42.5, and it went down. It went down when I bet it. So.
Oof.
Yeah.
Vegas knows a thing or two.
Oh my god. Well, wait. Actually, you know what? Let me check what it was when I said it on the pod last week.
I think it was 41.5 because that's what I took, and I barely won it.
Oh my god, Kyle. It was 42.
It was 41.5.
No, it was 42.5. Oh my god. And I bet it the next day, and it was 40.5. Oh my god. So it must have moved that night. Oh my god. I hope you guys waited. Oh my god. I'm over here being.
Yeah, we might have already been over bragging.
Oh no. My god. I'm over here like an asshole now. Oh my god.
Boo.
I was like, out of curiosity, let me just check what it was. Josh Allen would have hit. Saquon would have hit. And then the touchdown would have hit. Well, all right. So here's the thing. I did say De'Ami Brown was one I loved, and then I also said Hunt scoring was also good. So I don't know. Hopefully you guys got it lower than 42.5. Hopefully you got it.
Well, you bet at MGM, you would have had it because I bet it that night and I got it 41.
All right, thank God. All right, so it did change that night. It changed that night. All right, so maybe if you were watching in real time, which I don't think many people do, hopefully you got it at 41.5 or lower. So, all right.
Well, I guess.
So, yeah, that hit. I'm gonna have more of those next week. I'll see if I can cook up another winner for you guys. But again, I advise gamble responsibly, and also don't blow your load on parlaying everything I say together. Take your best bet.
Yeah.
Take one you like, hammer that with your normal amount of units, and then I would throw like $5 on the
Eagles money line.
Birds money line.
Spoiler alert.
It's a good value. It's plus money. Hey, it's plus money.
It is.
All right. We are gonna save most of our discussion for the big game next. I guess 2 weeks. Technically, a little less than 2 weeks from now.
That'll be next week, bro.
Yeah, that would be 1 week from today was when we'll discuss. So yeah, we'll save most of our discussion. Actually, you want to just save the whole discussion for next week?
Yeah, save it for next week.
I gotta change the title.
Obviously, I think we know who we're picking, but
yeah, I'm picking the Eagles.
But I think next week we'll do that, and we'll also do like a little recap of our
so
picks,
I'm going to
KBTs.
Hopefully Sunday is when I'll have that posted. And Kyle, if you want to send me the KBT stats, I could also add that to the post on Instagram for like the season recap. So yeah, I do a season recap every year. If you guys don't know, I pick every game. Also, this is called the Picks Podcast for a reason, because it all started with me picking games straight up, no spreads, no nothing, just plain old vanilla straight up games. I had a really good season. I didn't go under 500 1 week this year, so it's going to be a really good recap for me. I have to see what exactly my numbers were looking like, but this might be a historic year for picks, so happy about that. Hopefully that'll be up Sunday. I'm thinking probably Sunday or definitely before the pod goes next week. So be on the lookout for that. Also, we're gonna implement, I should say, a Q&A, a little bit of a Q&A next week. So
Yeah.
I will make a post on YouTube. I will make a post on Instagram. I will make a post on my Snapchat. But also, if you want to send me or Kyle questions, you can
Directly.
You can, if you know us personally, our personal accounts. But if not, at @picks_NFL on Instagram, at @picks_NFL on YouTube. Send me direct messages, and we will answer your questions. Any question you have. Obviously,
any question you have doesn't necessarily be a football. Obviously,
well,
we got the Super Bowl,
I'd prefer football, and
prefer Super Bowl.
Yeah, I gotta.
I could also answer
I
Christian
know some
questions.
guys that might ask some absurd questions. So let's try and keep it football related. But if they're fun and they're non-football related,
Yeah, maybe we'll answer.
maybe we'll
them.
get to those as well. But yeah,
We got a little flexibility next week. No recaps next week. It's just preview and
yeah, man.
just
Preview,
getting ready for
recap,
reviewing the season,
and yeah, a season in review. So be on the lookout for that. And I think that's all we got, Kyle. Right? You got anything else?
That's all we got.
You want to add anything?
I got nothing else. Send those questions. Go Birds!
Go
baby.
Birds! One more game.
Go Birds!
One more game.
Go Saquon!
I will say we will be objective as possible next week. Obviously, we're both gonna pick the Eagles.
We're gonna do our research. We're gonna pick the
Eagles.
We're
both gonna do our
decision,
research.
So.
You will get an in-depth analysis, both sides, both keys to victory for each team. You will get both of that right here next week. So stay tuned, and we will see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in. Good night, everybody.